Hi, this is Eric with 30by40.com, and I'm going to be starting a new series of product reviews to help you pick out products for your building project, and hopefully I can provide some of my insights. I'm an architect, and I do mostly high-end residential work, and I've done that for about 10 or 11 years now, and hopefully I can share some of what I've learned along the way with you and help you pick out some nice interior products for your house. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about limestone. I love limestone. I've used limestone in my own house. I used it in the entryway sort of mudroom area, and I also used it in the bathroom, and I used it in the shower and the bath surrounding the bathtub. So I love this product, and one of the reasons I chose it was because I love the sort of soft texture of the limestone. And I have here a sample box of samples that I get sent to me. As an architect, I get these sort of things sent to me if I ask for them. It's actually pretty easy for you to get them too. So what I'd encourage you to do is contact a place like Stone Source here, stonesource.com, and they're happy to send you individual samples. They won't send you probably the whole box that I have, but they'll send you quite a few. And if you go on their website, they have great sort of thumbnail images of each one of their stones. The stone that I used in my own house is called Padishah Azul, and this is a Spanish limestone. It's got a gray character to it. It's got some natural veining in here, and you can see that if you were to get a sample of this, you can see some of that natural veining there. It looks a lot like concrete. It has a lot of the character of concrete, which I loved. Ideally, I would have done a concrete shower in my house, but not everyone in my house was on board for that. So this limestone was a nice compromise. This ended up being about $6 a square foot for the material only. And usually a good rule of thumb is you can figure the labor will be the same cost as the material to install it. So another $6 or $9 a square foot to install it. I happen to do it myself. You can install it yourself as well. One of the important things to look for if you're going to do it yourself, especially, is whether or not the stone is gauged. And you can see this stone has a thickness to it, and the thickness is very regular. And this is a gauged stone. It means the back side of it has a smooth surface. It's gone through a machine which creates a flat surface. So when you're setting this tile, and you're putting it on your floor, which is hopefully level, the tile itself will not be sort of off kilter, and as you lay a tile next to it, that tile as well will sit right up to next to it, and you'll have an even surface on the top. So gauged tile is important. They also sell ungauged tile, and you'll see that in a lot of the more inexpensive tiles that are imported from China, and other parts of Asia. Tends to be ungauged, and it's one of the reasons why it's inexpensive, because they basically put a fiberglass mat on the back of it, and what they do is they sort of hold the pieces together. And you'll notice if you buy some of this tile, pick some up at Home Depot or Lowe's, you'll find that this tile spalls a lot. It's pretty regular. It's poor material. So I really do recommend, if you can afford it, going through a supply warehouse that'll give you gauged stone. The gauged stone will provide you a nice even surface. This is especially critical in bathrooms, entryways where you don't want people tripping and falling, and you know, in places where you're going to touch it with your bare feet. You want a smooth surface, basically. Okay, I'm going to quickly go over finishes for limestone. Limestone, you don't have a lot of options, okay? Limestone, for the most part, comes in honed finishes, and that's really the finish you want. It's a nice, soft, subtle finish. It complements the material well. Polished finishes don't happen with limestone because of the density of the material. It's not as dense as a granite, which you can easily get a polished finish on. But you can see this is reflecting some of the light in the background there. A honed finish doesn't show fingerprints, especially on this light gray. It cleans up easily, and it's just a nice, soft, subtle finish. It feels great on your feet. So finishes, that's sort of all you get. You can get a flamed finish in limestone. I'm not sure I'd recommend it, as it's such a porous stone. Any flamed finish where the top surface is irregular um, it will just hold dirt, and I think it's not an ideal finish at all for limestone. You could use this, say, on an accent for a fireplace front, and it would probably be fine, but don't use it on a floor or on a wall surface that you're going to have to be cleaning all the time. It's just going to be a maintenance sort of nightmare. Nice, soft, subtle look, but really it has to be sort of in an accent role only. Now, locations for limestone. I wouldn't say you'd want to use them in a real high traffic area, especially if you have young kids. It's just not, this isn't a material that's made for those locations. I would use it in a bath. I'd use it in a countertop setting, no problem. As long as you seal it, as long as it's honed, I would have no problem using it in any of those locations. So just to recap, since I'm sort of getting long here, number one thing you want to do, after you found your location where you want the limestone, go online. Go to a place like stonesource.com. See if you can get some samples from them. If you have any trouble, just drop me a line, eric@30by40.com. Just drop me a line. I'll help you out. It shouldn't be any problem getting samples. You find a coloration that you're comfortable with, and get a couple of different samples. Have them send it to you. They come in these little sort of 3x3 chunks, and you can hold them in the space that you're considering it for. Hold it up next to your paint colors, your wood floor. See how it looks together, okay? The second thing you want to do, think about the size for the tile. And this, when you pick out the tile, you're going to have to pay attention to this. I would go big. Go as big as you possibly can. Not only is it going to be less expensive to install, the material cost might be a little higher, but the labor cost will be lower. Big is really popular now, and I really like the way these sort of monoliths look in a space. And they can look great even in a small space. If you're working in a small bath, big stones are totally cool. And even if you got a stone that's, say, 24 by 24, you could cut it down into sort of 4-inch wide strips, so 4 by 24. That's still big. Use big gestures. I think those are most important. Distinguish yourself from the rest of the pack. Okay, so the next thing you want to think about is gauged. You want your stone to be gauged. You want it all to be the same thickness. You don't want this piece of stone being 3/8 of an inch and the stone next to it being 1/4 of an inch. That's going to be a problem. That's going to be an uneven floor. The joints aren't going to line up. And whoever's setting your tile, whether it's you or a tile setter, they're going to tell you that the joints need to be bigger. And I'm going to tell you, which is sort of the next thing, you want to keep your joints tight. I think limestone looks great in a sheet application, which means you want your joints nice and close. And when I say tight joints, I mean like 1/16 of an inch. And most tile setters will say, oh, I don't want to do that. And that's why it's important that you get a gauged product. A gauged product will be square on all sides. It'll have an even thickness, and it'll make your tile setter happy. And if your tile setter is you, it'll make you happy. And the last thing I want to say is you got to seal it. And I would seal it with Stone Tex products. Look for a penetrating sealer. It may change the color just ever so slightly, but something like Bulletproof would be perfect for limestone. Seal it every year if you can stand it. If it's in a little higher traffic area, I'd seal it every 6 months. It's really easy application. It's either a foam brush or you take a rag and you wipe the material on. Any excess you wipe off. It's real super easy. So I'm going to post this video on my website, 30by40.com, spell out the word 30by40.com. And there I'm going to have all these resources. I'll have links to Stone Source, and I'll try and come up with a listing of some of the products that I like. So thanks for watching. All right, see you soon. Bye-bye.